Watch something new, learn something new. Welcome to your digital classroom. I am Saji Kevi and you are watching my channel, The Eureka. In the previous video, we learned Sibia, her mother and other village women went to the cliff for cutting the paper grass, and after cutting the paper grass they came down and crossed the river. But Sibia remained back. She wanted to see whether her clay balls were ready for painting. Sibia came down along to the stepping stones. Now, Sibia came down along to the stepping stones. Rest of the women crossed the river and disappeared. Light of the evening was striking up the gorge, pink into ultraviolet shadows. It became evening. Light of the evening was striking the valley and it turned to ultraviolet shadows. Now the sun was off. The water poured almost invisible among the stones, with no reflection show where it began. Now the sun had set. As a result, it was almost dark. Therefore, she could not see even the river flowing. She could not see the water, and the reflection of the water could not be seen. Sibia stepped onto the first stone. Sibia wanted to cross the river and she stepped onto the first stone. She was heavily weighted, her muscles stretched and aching. She was carrying heavy load on her head. She was tired of carrying. Her muscles ached and she had a lot of pain. The haycock squeaked in the packed dry grass and dug onto her collarbone so close under the skin, in spite of the sari bunched up to make a pad. Now, had kept the haycock in the packed grass, squeaked. So the haycock made shrieking noise in the packed grass, and that she kept near to the collarbone, so close under the skin. In spite of that, she had pain on her muscles. Though she made a pad with her sari in order to protect herself from the heavy weight of the grass, but still she was tired of carrying that heavy load. When she was halfway over, she put her load down on the big boulder to rest and leaned and breathing on the fork. Now halfway reached. She was crossing the river and she crossed the halfway and she stopped there to relax herself. Her load down on the big stone and leaned forward, catching her fork in her hand. At the same moment, a Gujar woman came down with the two guras to the water on the other side. At that moment, a Gujar woman came to fetch water from the river in order to get the good clean water, which would quickly fill both guras to the top without sand. She walked onto the stepping stones. Now the Gujar woman came to collect water. She climbed on the stepping stone and moved ahead little so that she could get clean and neat water. She wanted to fill the pots water. Therefore, she moved ahead for filling the water on the stepping stone. She was within the yard of the crocodile when he lunged at her. She did not see the crocodile lying there in the logs of wood among the stones. As she reached within the yard, the crocodile jumped at her. Up out of the darkling water heaved great reptile, water slushing off him, his livid jaws yawning, and all his teeth flashing as he slashed at her leg. Now the crocodile rose from that dark water and jumped upon her and caught hold of her leg with its white teeth. The woman screamed, dropped both brass pots with a clatter on the boulder, from whence they bounced to the water, and Sibia saw them bob away in the current. Woman cried loudly, screamed loudly, and she dropped both the pots, and both the boats were moving in the water, and she was caught by the crocodile, and the pots moved on to the water. Sibia saw them move away. Sibia saw the pots go away. Oh, that were good vessels gone. She cried, the two vessels lost. She was more worried about the losing of vessels than the woman being attacked by the crocodile. This is an irony of the situation. Gujar woman recoiled from the crocodile, but his jaws closed on her leg at the same moment as she slipped and fell onto the bone-breaking stone and clutched on the timber logs to save herself. Now, the Gujar woman tried to move back forcefully, but the crocodile had caught her tightly, and the crocodile pulled her up, and the woman fell to the bone-breaking stone. The woman caught hold of the log of wood lying in the water. The log jammed between two boulders, with the woman clinging to it, screaming, while the crocodile pulled on to her leg, thrusting his mighty tail bang, bang to and fro in great smacking, as he tried to drag her free and carry her off down to the deeps of the pool. Now, the crocodile tried his level best to carry the woman to the deep water. The crocodile caught hold of her and tried to pull her up to drag and take her to the deep water. Meanwhile, the woman was holding the log of wood that was stuck between two stones. As a result, the crocodile could not carry her away from that place, and the crocodile struggling hard to carry her to the deep water. Blood spread everywhere. Sibia sprang. She was wounded, and the blood was spread everywhere. Sibia jumped up from boulder to boulder. She came leaping like a rock god. Sometimes it had seemed difficult to cross these stones, especially big gap in the middle where the river curves through like a bulge of grass. Now here, she jumped from stone to stone. At times, it is difficult to jump from one stone to another stone when there is no good grip. But she jumped from one stone to another stone like a rock god and easily reached the spot. But now she came on wings, choosing her footing in middle without even thinking about it. In one moment, she was beside the shrieking woman. Within no time, she reached the spot of the woman who was being attacked by the crocodile. She did not bother about her safety. She jumped from stone to stone and reached there like a rock god. The boiling bloody water, the face of the crocodile fastened round the leg, was tugging to and fro and smiling. Now the crocodile was moving to and fro so that crocodile could release her from the wood that she was catching, and so that the crocodile could carry her to the deep water. His eyes rolled on to Sibia. One slap of the tail could kill her. Crocodile saw Sibia standing there, and with one strike of the tail of the crocodile, easily the crocodile could kill Sibia. He struck up short the water 20 feet and fell like a silver chain. The crocodile struck with its tail, and the water rose high like a silver chain. Again, he did it. The rock jumped under the blow. So even the rock was shaken by the strike of the crocodile. But in the daily heroism of the jungle, as common as thorn tree, Sibia did not hesitate. Sibia was not frightened of the crocodile. She was a heroic woman. She was really a heroine. And she was not frightened of the crocodile. The crocodile tried level best to frighten Sibia and to attack her also. But Sibia was not frightened of it. She aimed at the reptile's eye. With all the force of her little body, she drove the hayfork at the eyes, and one prong went in right in while its spear scratched past on the horny cheek. Now, Sibia aimed at the eye of the crocodile, and she struck her hayfork into the eye of the crocodile, and it exactly pierced into the eye of the crocodile, and one prong went in deep and other was by the side of the horny cheek of the crocodile. The crocodile reared up in convulsion till half his lizard body was out of the river and the tail and nose nearly meeting over his bony back. The crocodile immediately moved backward so as to escape from being attacked by this girl. But already she had struck the crocodile in its eye, and the crocodile could not bear the pain. The crocodile released the woman. Then he crashed back, exploding the water. In an uproar of bloody foam, he disappeared. The crocodile rushed back, exploding the water, adventuring the water, moved towards the deep river and disappeared. He would die. The crocodile would die surely. Not yet, but presently, though his death would not be known for days, not till his stomach blown with gas floated him. Now here, the crocodile would not die soon. It would die after some time, and it would float upside down after some days with the stomach filled with gas, and then alone will come to know about the death of this crocodile. Then perhaps he would be found upside down among the logs at the timber boom with pus in the eye. It may be after some days they will find this crocodile lying upside among the logs of wood and with pus in his eyes. Sibia got her arms around the fainting woman and somehow dragged her from the water. Sibia immediately caught hold of the woman and dragged her out from the water. She stopped her wounds with the sand, bound her with a rag, and helped her to home Gujar encampment, where men made a litter to carry her to someone for treatment. Immediately, she stopped the wound of this woman with the sand, and she bandaged her wound with a rag and carried her to the Gujar encampment. The men took her to someone for treatment in a litter. Then Sibia went back for grass and sickle and fork. After leaving the woman in the encampment in the hand of the men, she came back to the river again so that she could take the grass, her sickle and fork back home. The fork was lying in the river, not carried away luckily. As she went to pick it up out of the water, she saw the blue bead. And then the girl came back and went to take the hair fork. At that moment, she saw beside that hair fork was lying a blue bead which she dreamt. To her surprise, she saw the blue bead there. Not a blue bead now, with the sun nearly gone, but no color white, blue, as its shape moving in the movement of exactly the color of the bead cannot be identified. The sun had already disappeared. The sun had set. Therefore, the color of the bead cannot be recognized and identified. She reached her arm down into the yard of the cold silk water to get it, missing it first of all because of the refraction. Now she put down to pick out the blue bead from the water. As she first time when she attempted, she missed it because of the refraction. Then there it lay in her wet palm, perfect, even pierced, ready for use, with the sunset shuffled about inside like a gold dust. Now she looked at, and when she kept in her palm, she saw that it was already pierced and ready for use, and the sunset shuffled about, and it appeared to be gold dust in color. All her heart went up in flames of joy. She was excited. She was happy. After a bit, she twisted it into the top of her skirt against her tummy, so she could know if the burst through the poor cloth and fell. Now she took it in the palm and kept on her stomach to see well the beauty of that blue bead. Then she picked up her fork, sickle, and the heavy grass, set off home. Hi, hi, what a day! She picked up her heavy load, sickle, and the fork, and with great joy she started going home. Her bare feet smudged out the wrinkled mark of snakes in the dust. There was thin singing of malaria mosquitoes among the trees now. The track was much used at night by Moro's old Makana elephant, the tuskless one. Now she moved along the path. Path had the mark of the snakes moved. She did not bother about the mark of the snake's movement on the path. She could hear the singing of the malaria mosquitoes. That did not bother her. And the track was used by an elephant, especially the tuskless one. And she did not bother about the elephant or malaria mosquitoes or the snake that she could encounter on her way. But Sibia was not thinking of any of them. The stars came out, she noticed. She did not bother about the elephant, the snake, and the malaria mosquitoes there. She, without thinking about anything, she moved ahead towards her home. On the way back, she met her mother, out of breath, come to look for her, scolding. So on the way, the mother she met. On the way, she met her mother. The mother came in search of her, shouting and scolding her for remaining back. I did not see till I was home that you were not there. Mother told her, I was not aware that you were not there with me till I reached home. I thought something must have happened to you. I thought something might have happened to you, therefore you could not come with them. And Sibia, bursting with her story, cried, something did. I found a blue bead for my necklace. Look. So Sibia did not tell anything about her brave act of saving the Gujar woman from the attack of the crocodile. But she said, something happened this day. Yes, I found it, the blue bead for my necklace. This is, you see, this is what the blue bead I have. And she is happy and excited about the blue bead.